Good morning, everyone, from Savannah, Georgia, and Bonaventure Cemetery. This is Shannon Scott, your taphophile friend, your cemetery story traveler in spirit. Here on a very special day, Little Gracie's 140th birthday. It was a long time ago that she died, really shy of her 7th birthday, on April 23rd, 1889. But she was born in Charleston, South Carolina, on July 10th, 1882, to Wales and Frances Watson, who were stewards of a hotel called the Charleston Hotel on Meeting Street. And eventually they found their way to Savannah, Georgia, to the Pulaski Hotel, where Little Gracie was well known to the square, the hotel, and also kind of like a little Shirley Temple residence. She was known to sing and dance for guests and became a part of the Savannah mythos and the Savannah mythos and, of course, the Bonaventure mythos. For, I don't know, many years to come, still today, even more, always growing. And John Walls, our sculptor, who knew her parents and had encounters with Little Gracie, when Wales Watson, her father, walked into his studio after she had died of sepsis at really 6½, the two men didn't even need to speak. Wales Watson just handed Walls a photograph in silence, and John Walls sets to task for a 1.5 years, unveiling Little Gracie to the world here in Bonaventure. And he felt obviously quite fond of Gracie and her family. And really, I think one of the most amazing parts of the Little Gracie monument is the posy flower she holds on her lap. Now, for 2,000 years, posy flowers were left at children's graves to show how the fragrance of their youth had escaped too quickly. How, let's say, the innocence did not survive, but also how the little bud never fully bloomed, Little Gracie. But you see, there was a tradition between lovers. I shouldn't say lovers, but let's say young affectionates, right? You know, they were too innocent to be lovers quite yet, let's hope. But parents kind of allowed something to go on that, I mean, they controlled the language of relationships back then, really. It was, kind of in their court. But they allowed something to go on between let's say, young crushes. And that was the exchange of the posy flower. Now, if you, as a young person, were at a church picnic, I mean, maybe you knew the prying eyes were aware, maybe you didn't, but in handing that flower to your betrothed-to-be, you knew the trick was in the exchange. You didn't want anyone to see that you were concealing a note around the stem of that flower. And there was your sonnet of love, some special expression, maybe a note like, hey, meet me in Bonaventure later at midnight. But you see, this statue is John Walls' love to the world. It's his love note to the world. He wanted to remind the world of loss and the beauty of this God's gift to the world, the energy of the child, the love abundant inside of the child, the thousands and thousands of lives that she touched before she left the earthly world. So yes, Little Gracie, many things to many people, but in spirit, she is really a reminder of the importance of innocence and keeping that good and the challenges of all that in our lives as we go through our lives, to keep that a part of ourselves and to share it with others, to energize their own. So, all that said, when she contracted strep throat that became a kidney infection they call Bright's disease that went septic, she died 2 days after Easter in 1889, and a 1.5 years later, Walls unveils Little Gracie to the world. And her parents would move far away eventually, and they are buried in unmarked graves, actually in Albany, New York. And Little Gracie, in many respects, was left behind here in Savannah to fend for herself, and the world would begin to take care of Little Gracie. And one of the great traditions is to come to Bonaventure and leave a gift, a token, from money to toys, to, of course, birthday balloons on her birthday, to really take care of Gracie, to be a part of her family. And the old saying about Little Gracie is that she adopts every passerby adopts her. And so to truly tell others that you went into the world, that you went to the village of Savannah, that you joined those ranks of the spiritual people there, you have to be able to tell them that you went to Bonaventure for the adoption moment with Little Gracie. So this really should be one of the number one things on people's visits to Savannah, The world takes care of little Gracie. So here on our 140th birthday, I was very blessed to have wonderful parents and a mother who raised me in the tradition of the church choir and taught my brother and I how to play the piano and sing in the living room and things like that. I thought it would only be fitting that on little Gracie's birthday, we celebrated her in song. So, you know, call me a little Gracie nerd if you must. Call me a Tafophile nerd if you must. But I just can't help myself. So I'm going to sing Little Gracie happy birthday. And perhaps you'll join me in song, maybe out loud, maybe just in your minds. But, of course, send little Gracie your birthday greetings today, will you? So, on the count of three, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, little Gracie. Happy birthday to you. Love you, little Gracie. The world loves you. Happy birthday.